This fantasy football sleeper stations and bust edition of Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to now score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, this is Jmark. You can find me on the X at Jmark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB. Got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. But before we talk about these fantasy football sleepers, stashes, and busts, you can find her on the X at the Mir Mark. Mir, how you doing today?
Doing great. Getting back into the swing of things from our family vacation.
Yes, I don't feel like I am back in the swing of things, but I'm trying. I'm getting an A for effort at least. We had a great time at Arizona despite it being hotter than hell itself.
112 most days. It was, I don't know. But now we're back home and our normal house temp is too cold for me. So that'll wear off. It'll wear off.
Which I'm happy about. We'll save money. But.
You're happy about it for saving money. I feel like your mom is going to be happy about it.
Oh, yeah.
But just Kathy, if you're listening, don't expect it to last long. I'll be back to needing my house to be 71, 70 really soon.
I noticed you avoided the most important number because you knew I would have a response to it.
That's our no, never mind.
I was going to say sleep. Our sleep number is 69.
I
Nice.
like the house to be 69 degrees
Mm-hmm.
when you sleep because I like to be cozy under covers. So
fair enough.
Mhm.
Shout out to Jamie Prague in the chat. Look at this beautiful couple. Well, thank you. We appreciate
Thank
that. Before we talk about stuff, let's talk a little injuries because we were on travel, we're a little behind.
Mhm.
And yeah, let's talk about injuries real quick.
Yeah,
there's some
there are some
on.
to catch up on. I'm going to cover Jahmyr Gibbs, my guy, who I did get to snag in a league today.
That's
He's
unfortunate.
what?
Whoa.
We're always going to disagree on him.
I know.
I don't care. He's dealing with the grade 1 hamstring strain. He is expected by week 1. So I mean, there's no hesitation for me drafting him. There could be a little bit of concern though. He did enter training camp with a soft tissue injury or issue he was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's his hamstring.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those can tend to linger, but I'm going to be optimistic here because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a stud and he's going to be just fine.
I should have hit up the doc on this because I saw one person who is not a doctor say that they've seen these soft tissue issues. That's hard to say fast.
Soft tissue issue.
Yeah. To hamstring injuries end up in a knee blowout. So
Gee, how dare you? I'm tired of you speaking
I knew that
things.
would rile you up.
Yes, you can't say something like that.
Speaking of other
No.
injuries, I mean, this happened last week, but like I said, we're catching up a little bit. JJ McCarthy had surgery to repair the tear in his meniscus. He's out for the season. Now, our friend Sebastian of the DGen Doc Show, make sure you go check that out. That's the doc I was just referring to that I should have asked. Check out their show. They're covering all sorts of injuries and how it could affect the season. But he said the removal of the damaged part would be a quicker heal, but it would not be ideal long-term. So the repair is leading to a 4 to 6 month healing process, but it is better for long-term at least.
Yes. This isn't an injury, but Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb, and Jamar Chase all still do not have contracts.
Can I rant for a second?
Okay.
I'm so fucking tired of the people on social media that are posting, the deal is done, or, he's traded. because they're hoping that they can be like, well, I'm the one that broke the news first, even though it hasn't actually happened. And they're just looking for that social credibility.
Well, we both thought that Brandon Ayuk was fine. Like he's staying with the 49ers. It was a steal deal,
4-year, $130 million.
It's not done.
No.
Nothing is done. Nothing is final. I still think they'd be crazy to get rid of him. I do think there's been a lot of talk that he might go to Washington, which...
Yeah, but now they might not have a receiver to trade. They might not have a receiver depth.
Because the 49ers want to get a receiver out of it.
They have stated they prefer to get a receiver back. Let's jump right into that. Eagles traded for Washington Commanders receiver Jahan Dotson, which is interesting. I mean, he was kind of their wide receiver 2. He'll maybe be the wide receiver 3 on the Eagles behind A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. I mean, really, when I was looking it down and I was looking at the rosters, I think this helps Luke McCaffrey. Yeah. I mean, that's the rookie that got drafted by the Commanders this year. And I know he's not Christian McCaffrey, but Luke McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, their dad, Ed McCaffrey. I mean, it's the same football blood. I mean, they just have that in their genes. So, I mean, obviously he could be very, very talented.
Plot twist.
Yes.
The Washington Ayuk does go to the Commanders and they trade Luke to the 49ers.
And the brothers play together. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
My mom was listening and she says she likes it a bit warm. You lizard. And Josiah checking in. Can you explain whatever the fridge, the new kickoff rule is? Josiah keeping it PG there. They did that kickoff in the XFL. And when the XFL was still here, USFL was going, and USFL had the standard NFL kickoff. And I just like the standard kickoff so much better. I don't like this new kickoff. I think it is dumb. You have your linemen line up basically next to each other. So your offense and defense are lined, and then nobody can move until the receiver catches the ball. They claim it's for injuries. I don't think the NFL cares about injuries, to be honest. They don't care about injuries. They think that this will lead to less touchbacks, which it will. And that's what they really care about. They don't want touchbacks because that's considered a boring thing. But yeah, I'll send you a whole explanation on it, Josiah, because it would take us a long time. And it'll get me all flustered because I hate it.
I know. I can feel you just like getting worked
Shout
up
out to the Canadian League, the CFL, that decided, hey, let's keep the regular kickoff. But anyways, and Jamie pointing out the McCaffrey mom, an athlete, played soccer at Stanford.
There you go.
They're full of athletic blood.
Athletes, the whole family.
I did tell your dad, because he doesn't follow the rookies as much, obviously, until they're actually playing. And I told him I was going to trick him into bidding $60 for Luke McCaffrey. And then, oh no, wrong McCaffrey.
We still have to get that scheduled.
Yes.
Our family league.
Yes.
Which we tried for the first time last year. It was fun. And yeah, we got to get that scheduled.
Yeah.
Figure out a time. We're running out of time.
I know.
We're
September
really
5th, I believe, is kickoff.
Running out of time for these drafts.
Yeah, it's getting
Speaking
tight.
of drafts, we just started our Pirate Listener League today.
Yeah.
Slow drafting.
Yeah, which is being sponsored by Savage and Cook, which can lead us to, what are we drinking today?
I made us an old fashioned with Savage and Cook's rye. We're running out of the rye.
I noticed that. When you asked for the rye and I grabbed it, I was like, there's not a lot.
I know, which is what you can win in our Pirate Listener League. You can win a bottle. Their bottles, we have one of the second, I'm going to call it the second bottle of their rye. And well, it's their first bottle of theirs.
Right.
But it had like that birch label.
Tree bottle. That's what I'll call it.
Yes. We're running out of that now. The bottles, I really like the look of their new bottles. I think they're sick looking. They're awesome.
They're sick looking.
But you'll get that. You'll get you'll get one of the Savage and Cook mixing spoons, bar spoons that we talked about when we had Dylan Carney on. And yeah. But I made an old fashioned, and I decided to get a little fun with the recipe today. And I made it with spiced cherry bitters, the Angostura, not Sutra.
Yes,
Stura, not Sutra. Bitters, and then one of our orange peels.
Yeah. It's very good. It's got a nice strong taste to it. Which
the rye is my favorite of what they make.
Yeah.
I just love their rye.
Yeah. Speaking of distillers, Kate Douglas checking in the drama of the first round of the draft. There was a little drama going on.
I have noticed drama in almost every league I've been drafting in already. Like, and first of all, I want to say this has nothing to do with the drama that happened in our listener league today, but a slow draft is exactly what that means. Like, there's a timer. People can take up to that 4 hours. You have no idea what's going on in people's lives. And there's been a lot of drama around people taking too much time. It's a slow draft.
Right.
Ideally, we'd all like to get through it really fast and be done.
Yeah, everybody's excited to draft their team, but
I've seen drama around that. I'm just thinking, okay, come on. People getting worked up.
Yeah. It's surprisingly hard to get 12 adults to get them on the same schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea behind the slow draft, is that not everybody has the same
you have
schedule.
a 4-hour timer. You can take up to that time. I have been pushing it a little bit.
I got one with 3 minutes left.
I know. I told you, I was like, Justin, you're on the clock. I was on a work call today, and I had like 17 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest I've come to running out of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Drama. It happens. So, and Jamie said, and then when the draft
there's
ends,
also the thing of the slow draft. It extends the draft. It extends the fun.
Yeah. I mean, drafting is probably the best part of fantasy football, aside from winning. Obviously, winning is good. You like to tinker with your lineups, try to get deals on waivers, but I mean, the draft is the most exciting part of it. It's for sure. Yeah. Hey, before we talk about sleepers, just wanted to let you know that everything in the merch store is 10% off with promo code football. And I'd recommend getting an old-fashioned football t-shirt. Duh. We have a really cool logo that Jake Paquin, the merch guy, designed for us, and it's on all our shirts. And plus, college football kicks off this week. Tune in to Sports Gambling Podcast and the College Football Experience for Week 0 picks and all your favorite futures. That is not you didn't mishear that. It's called Week 0 picks. It's just something that college football does. Why they don't start with Week 1, I don't understand. But Week 0 is just a couple of the teams. And real quick, before we keep going, Miranda, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Underdog Fantasy?
Yeah, we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. An Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry, or play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes, and you can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. So go sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick, plus first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's right, you heard it, $1,000 in bonus cash. Go to underdogfantasy.com and use promo code OFFSGPN. One too many F's there.
Yeah, they're raising the stakes there with that $1,000.
I know, it's the highest I've ever seen it.
Yeah, and speaking of raising the stakes, go raise the stakes at the Circa. And Circa Sports is back with the Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your office survivor pool, but you didn't enter the Circa Survivor. Oh, or if you enter Cody's, which is $10, Cody's Eve, reach out to him if you want to be in it. And you don't win, you don't enter this and you win. And if you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet, well, you better do it right now. Drive out there now, because it's Ultimate Contest weekend. And Sean and Ryan are there right now, like literally right now. Go out there, hang out with them, enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world. Started yesterday. It'll go till tomorrow. Just use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel room for a sign-up weekend. I know that's a little last minute, but you can do it. And all you got to do is sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. So if you can't make it by the 24th, it's okay. Get out there before September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We sign up. You can sign up in person at Circa Sports, and you can get a deal with the proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. And if you do it now, you get a free hat, a free SGP hat. Everybody loves free shit. So get out there and do that, and good luck. All right, we're back. I felt like I stumbled through that a little bit, but it's all good.
You're going to lose your title.
Going to lose my title. I feel like ever since we had Matthew Dwoskin on, which, by the way, his 9-to-1 future he gave out on our show hit. Arizona Rattlers won the championship easily in the indoor
Mhm.
football league. But anyways, I feel like ever since he was on here and said I was one of the best ad readers of SGPN,
You have just failed ever since.
It's felt like
You've
a little
become
bit
one
of
of-
pressure.
I'm not going to make it any worse. Keep going.
Adeline says, "Who won the family league?" We're not going to talk.
We're
about
not
that.
talking about it.
Jill's ego is too big already.
Mhm. And my mom came in second.
Well, she weaseled her way into second.
She did get the Weasel Trophy.
Jamie asking when they bumped it up to 1,000. Is that for every company or just you because you're special? I'm going to say just us because we're special. I don't know for sure the details on that. That's above my pay grade.
But it is a $1,000 bonus entry. Right
$1,000 if you use OFF SGPN.
Mm-hmm.
And King Oahu asking if we're answering fantasy football questions.
Always, all day, every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And any underrated rookies I can pick up off the wire. We're going to talk about a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then right before week 1, we always do a show of guys to pick up now. Kind of your, college football has week 0 waivers. We do our week 0 waivers, pick up these people and stash them. But if you have questions about anybody specific, not the Pacific Ocean. If you have questions about anything specific, put it in the chat there and we'll answer it in between our segments here. But let's start talking about sleepers, which we do have some rookies on. We're in fact going to start with one. Might have gotten drafted if you already did your draft, which I would understand. But if he's not, go ahead. I know we talked about him earlier today, so go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Jaden Daniels. Why are you laughing at me?
I just realized I put my player on there and then kicked it to you.
No,
I know we both had him, but yeah.
I'm talking about him.
Oh, well, you talk about him then.
I didn't know you picked him.
I did.
Well, I'm talking about him.
Okay, go for it.
No, he currently has an AAV of $1. I think that his rushing upside is very high. Even the floor on his rushing seems pretty high to me. I'm not going to not acknowledge the injury concerns.
Yeah.
But if he's not injured, he does have, in my opinion, a good chance at finishing in that top 12 area. He rushed for 2,700 yards over the last 3 seasons in college.
Yeah.
1,100 of those was just in the last year. He's also a good passer, which we even saw limited action last week in the preseason game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then let's talk about Cliff Kingsbury, because he's going to be running that air raid offense, which moves the ball quickly. And I've been watching Jaden Daniels, and he has crept up a little bit in his ADP. He was QB 20, and now he's 14.
Yeah.
So I do think that because if he does have that opportunity to finish in that top 12, getting him at 14 is still a good value. Obviously, if you got him in that 20 range, I think that's even better value.
Right.
But yeah, he's who I've been.
I agree. I mean, I agree. He could be top 12. And if you think about Justin Fields, who finished as a top 12 quarterback at one point, this guy has that. He's not as big, but he could run as well. So yeah, I'm going to talk about a running back here, Jaleel McLaughlin, who is going at an ADP of 50 and going for an AAV of $1. Now, there's been rumors this offseason that he's going to take Javonte Williams' spot, so his ADP has crept up some. I don't think he's going to necessarily take it, but they're both going to be involved. And he had a 15.6% rate of 10-plus yard runs in 2023, meaning that 15.6% of his touches went for over 10 yards, which is insane. Fantasy football, that big playability, very important. And he also led all running backs with 2.26 yards after contact. So, I mean, I think he's a stud.
I'm going to talk about Jared Goff.
The goof.
Yes. Who is also an AAV of $1. He's going around QB 13. And I had him ranked higher than that in my I can't remember right offhand. I don't have it in front of me, my top 10 list or top 12 list. But to me, it's too low for him. The past 2 seasons, he's averaged 35 passing attempts a game and 17.3 fantasy points per game. He's being drafted as a QB2, coming off of a year where he just finished in the top 10. That's legitimately finished in the top 10 of fantasy football quarterbacks last year. And this offense, nothing has changed on it
Yeah.
to indicate where we would see decline. In fact, like I just feel like we're just heating up. Like I feel like this offense is on fire, and he has so many good and talented weapons. I don't understand why he's at that ADP of 13.
I don't like
Or
the
going
take.
for $1. If you can get a top 10, like for $1,
Yeah,
I
think
don't
of the
know.
flexibility that gives you
Mhm.
elsewhere in your auction
Yeah,
drafts.
if I got my top 12 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, I think he'll finish in the top 10. So if I get my top 10 quarterback for $1, I don't have to spend $18 plus for one of those top quarterbacks. You can spend $1 on Goff, and then you have a lot more flexibility with your wide receivers, running backs, or your tight end, which I think is where you should invest your money.
You're all about the tight
Mhm.
ends. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree.
Mhm.
I give out a running back. Do you have a running back to give out now?
I do.
Okay.
Chase Brown.
I'm a big Chase Brown fan. I have him in a lot of dynasty because of last year.
Mhm.
Colby touted him.
Going at an AAV, so that's
Average auction
yes,
value.
I couldn't think of average. I was like, it's auction value. What is the first day? Wow, it's been. Hey, I am getting off of a day of my first day, like full. Well, I guess I kind of worked while on vacation, but we were
Yeah.
still like,
Kind of in vacation mode.
even though I
still,
had to work, it wasn't as stressful because I knew I had a pool I could go jump in right
was
after
about-
work.
I was about to say, when you can go from
Yes.
the stress and of work at your computer and go jump in the pool,
Mhm.
it's different than here.
It is. So I'm coming back on my first day back in my office at work, and yeah. Anyway, brain's not. It's booting up. Okay.
It's booting up.
So AAV of $9, currently going at an ADP of 38. Some of this depends on if he wins the starting job from Zach Moss.
Yeah.
However, he only had 58 touches in 2023, his rookie season. He
Mhm.
averaged 0.8 fantasy points per touch. And just for reference, so that 0.8 for reference, Breece Hall had 0.84 per touch, and Rashad White averaged 0.7 per touch.
Wow. And he just finished in the top 12. Rashad
Mhm.
White did.
So,
Well, that's impressive.
yeah. When you compare those numbers, I
Yeah.
mean, it is.
Yeah.
So
for
again,
sure.
and it does depend on if he gets that starting job from Zach Moss.
Yeah. And even if they're shared, maybe it'll be decent with those numbers.
Mhm.
I'm going to talk about running back Jmark White, who, again, this is a guy that in ADP, he is 23rd.
Mhm.
But in AAV, only it's $19, which seems high for your 23rd running back a little bit. His AAV has been creeping up, obviously, of the Raiders. Now, Jmark White, he played for the Raiders last year, but Jacobs was still there. However, he had 20 plus touches per week over the final 4 games when Jacobs was out. Antonio Pierce likes to run the ball. He's still their head coach. He's still going to run the ball. During that time, in those last 4 weeks, yes, they did play some easier defenses. But still, during that time, he was RB8 in points. So this is a guy that if he can just hold that starting job, he's not going to help you
Mhm.
in PPR. He does not do a great job catching the ball out of the backfield. But he runs hard, and he's going to help you, especially if you can get him as the 23rd running back off the board, or you can get him for $19 and he can be your RB2 for only $19. I think that's really good value because
Mhm.
I put him at number 12 in my top 12
You'd
running
spend
back
more
list.
than the $19 for him.
Absolutely, yeah, because I think he has that potential to finish in the top 12.
All right. Let's talk about Najee Harris.
I like Najee Harris. I've been getting a lot of shares of him.
I've started to. I was more recently.
Yeah.
I have started to. He's currently going at an AAV of $24. He's going at an ADP of also 24.
It's one of the
So-
things that never makes sense to me. He's
Mhm.
24. Jmark White is 23
Oh, 23, but
for
he's
ADP, but he's
Mhm.
going for more money. So
I know.
the auction people like Najee better, apparently.
Yes, that is
It's
what those
interesting.
numbers would mean.
Yeah, interesting.
When the Steelers turned to Mason Rudolph,
Mhm.
he seemed better than Kenny Pickett, and the offense moved better. And during those games, Najee averaged 20.8 fantasy points per game. Russell Wilson or Justin Fields should be an upgrade over the last year.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. They've upgraded their offensive line. Arthur Smith loves running the ball. And I know everybody loves Jalen Warren, and I think he'll get work too. However, no running back has more touches than Najee Harris since he's entered the league in 2021.
Really? That surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. That's just surprising.
I mean, but it had. I don't know what happened there.
Calm
Did
down.
you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
It like popped. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, when Arthur Smith was calling plays in Atlanta, the Falcons were ranked top 3 in rush attempts and rushing yards. When he called for Tennessee, they were second in rushing attempts and yards for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to run the shit out of the ball. I read a thing today that I'm trying to remember how he worded it, but basically Mike Tomlin said that the quarterback controversy and who's going to start is still being reviewed. As in, I know everybody liked the fact that, hey, Russell Wilson is here to be our savior. Justin Fields could steal that job from them. Neither one has looked very impressive. They've had moments, but they haven't looked impressive. Anyways, let's move on to wide receiver. But real quick before we do, King Wahoo says week 1, Jaden is going to be running. His friend got him at ADP of 83. I'm assuming that's overall. But yeah, I think he's going to be really good this year if he stays healthy for sure. Let's switch over to wide receivers, where I know you're not as big on this guy as I am, which is okay.
I had been. It just kind of.
But that's Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp. Those are your famous words.
They are.
Last year. Going at an ADP of 19 and AAV of $23. I know everybody's argument is, well, but Puka is there.
And Puka is my new man.
And Puka's your new man. Watch out. But in regular season games that Kupp, Puka, and Stafford all played, because, they all had some, well, I guess Kupp and Stafford had some injuries. Puka only had 7 more targets, 95, to Kupp's 88. And with those, Puka only caught 2 more passes, 59 to Kupp's 57. And Kupp scored 5 touchdowns to Puka's 4. So,
yeah, he had 1 more touchdown, but
he had 1 more touchdown, almost the same amount of catches. And he's going a lot later. Puka is going in the top 5 in most drafts that I've seen for wide receiver. That is top 5 wide receiver. I know he's 31. I know he's coming off injuries, but the volume should be there. And last year, no matter who was on the field, injured or not, the Rams threw the most combined passes to wide receivers. They're going to keep throwing it. I mean, this is Stafford, the gunslinger. He's not going to keep handing it off to Kyron Williams. Kyron's going to be plummeting for his stock. I'm just saying. You're that
so
to
wrong.
rile you up. But no, I think Cooper Kupp is being undervalued by a lot. I think that people are too focused on the injuries and too focused on his age. But
those are what I'm focused on.
I know, but just 3 years ago, he led the league in catches, in yards, and touchdowns.
Show me that bounce back somewhere else.
You're going to see that bounce back this year. I'll show it to you this year when I play you and I have Kupp in my starting lineup.
Okay.
Are you okay over there?
No. But we'll move on. We'll keep going.
The show must go on.
It must. Even if, that feeling, have you ever been in public where you, in a place where you shouldn't be coughing? Like
an airplane?
That, or I even think about after the pandemic where places where it wasn't so frowned upon to not wear a mask in public, and you get that itch at the back of your throat where your eyes are going to water and you're not going to be able to stop coughing and it's going to continue. That's happening and I'm suppressing it.
Yeah, that's fair. Real quick before you go, let's answer some questions from King
let's
Oahu.
do it.
Keon Coleman and Jacoby Myers keep and cut. I am a huge Keon Coleman guy. I think he's going to do really well this year. But would you calm down?
I'm trying.
But Jacoby Myers is a dog out of the slot too, and I think that he is. If this is dynasty, it's 100% Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman. I almost think either way, it's Keon Coleman.
Do you? I was going to say if it's a redraft, maybe lean Jacoby, but I think Keon Coleman is going to become best friends with with Josh Allen, and they lost a lot of the target share with
You've got
Diggs and Davis.
arguably the best quarterback in the league throwing to him.
Patrick Mahomes might have something to say about that, but
one of the best. Some people might argue.
Yeah,
he's
no,
better.
I agree.
So
he did go number one in our Savage and Cook Pirate League drafts
Yeah.
today. He did go as not number one, but the top quarterback. Also saying, I didn't realize Saquon and AJ Brown were on the same team when I drafted. Do you think it'll be fine stacking them? Yes, I do. Just because I think that team's going to be able to move the ball. I think Kellen Moore is going to do a decent job. And I think that now, I'm down on AJ
I know.
Brown.
I'm like, let's hear you talk up AJ Brown.
Well, I think it's okay stacking them because, I mean, if it was two wide receivers, I would be worried. But given that he's going to get his pass catching work, and Saquon's going to get his running work, I
think those are two great. I'm just, as someone who's not as down on AJ Brown, I think it's awesome. I think you've got a nice stack there.
Yeah.
I had the whole entire Chargers offense one year, and it was great for me. So
that's true. So yeah, sometimes stacking is not a bad thing, even if it is multiple wide receivers. I do think they'll do less of the tush push as well. So yeah. Don't forget, everybody that's watching, we see y'all watching there, like, subscribe, all that helps us. If you can leave a review.
Something, we haven't asked in a while. Like, if you could leave us a 5-star review, those really help us.
Oh, look at you.
I know.
Coming around with a 5-star, because you used to say leave a review, and I insisted, make it a 5-star, please. And you're like, it could be whatever. But look at you now, coming around with a 5-star review, whether that's on Spotify or Apple, that helps us a ton. And then just subscribing on YouTube helps a ton as well. So yeah, we appreciate it. Go ahead and talk about your
Don't give me shit.
I'm going to.
No.
That's my role in
I'm
life.
going to talk about Christian Kirk.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
He's currently going at an AAV of $15, an ADP of 31. He did have a bad week 1 last year, and then injured. He was injured in week 13.
I had draft remorse right away. I was like, oh man, I fucked up.
But however, from week 2 to week 12, he averaged 5.5 catches, 75.2 receiving yards. Over a 17-game season of health, that would be 94 catches, 1,278 yards, and 5 touchdowns, which would be about 14.8, like somewhere in there. Fantasy points per game. This is like more like guys like Chris Olave,
who's going to, I think, 12 to 14 range.
So in my opinion, like he stays healthy. Like getting him at 31 could be a steal.
Yeah, I agree. Trevor Lawrence loves throwing the ball too. I know they got some new weapons there, but I'm not necessarily concerned with that. Speaking of new weapons and the Bills, Curtis Samuel, who's going at an ADP of $49 or $49 as wide receiver 49 and an AAV of $1. Over the last 2 seasons at Washington, he got 126 passes, 1,269 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns. He has shown that he can be a guy that's not just good at catching dink and dunk passes, but he's good after the catch as well. Now he upgrades to Josh Allen from Sam Howell in a receiver room that actually has a lot of unproven talent. I mean, we just talked about Keon Coleman, who I think will be their wide receiver 1, but Samuel is going to eat out of that slot play where he's going to play and get a good target share.
Yeah. Sorry. I am
about to cut you
silently dying over here. You have no idea how hard this has been.
That's what she said.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Are you?
No. Chris Godwin, who is going at an AAV of $12. He's going at an ADP of 33. So a couple spots lower than Kirk. And when we're looking at him, like Mike Evans seems like the Bucs like player to own. However, if you look at opportunity, Godwin only had 6 less targets than Mike Evans.
Interesting.
In the past 3 seasons, Godwin had 80 catches and 1,000 yards, but with low touchdowns. But that gives him a high floor.
Yeah, you could turn that around. A little regression in a positive way.
And we're seeing him like moving back to the slot. He's been far better in the slot than outside where he played last year. Last year, he had 75 targets when lining up outside and turned those into 535 receiving yards, no touchdowns. He also had 48 slot targets, which was a third of previous years, and he turned those into 448 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was able to do more with that, like with his slot work,
A lot less targets, but
and that's exactly where we're going to see him more this year.
Yeah, no, I like it. We already talked about the Commanders, so let's talk about their wide receiver one, Terry McLaurin, who I don't understand going at an ADP of 32, going for $11. He's gone over 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons with really questionable quarterback play. He averaged 8 targets and 13.2 fantasy points a game. Jaden Daniels is here, and I know we just have our preseason games to look at, but he looks like a huge upgrade at quarterback. And this has been a dog. He's been a dog even with bad quarterbacks. So I don't know why he won't continue to eat.
I can see that. I'm going to talk about Ben Sinnott. He is going at an AAV of $1, and he is currently going at an ADP of 23. In the 2024 draft class, he scored an unofficial 9.49 out of a possible 10 on the relative athletic score.
That sounds good.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah, 9.49 out of 10 seems like it's pretty good.
This ranked 57 out of 1,105 tight ends from 1987 to 2024.
So it is good.
It is good. Yes. I'd like to know where our Iowa tight ends ranked.
Yeah.
Just like to know. I'd like to know.
Yeah. Find out a little.
I want to know what Laporta
what
ranked.
Do you call it? The relative athletic score? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All
relative athletic score.
I'll make a note to look.
I want to know Kittle and Laporta, Hawkinson. I guess we can look up Fant while we're at it. Throw in Fant.
we kind of claim him. I don't know.
We have to. He just didn't shoot off like
the
he
other
looks
three. Good at 1st, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a time where I definitely feel like he was up in the top 10.
He and Hawkinson were drafted in the same draft. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Anyways,
not. Yes. Washington's offensive coordinator is now Cliff Kingsbury. And when Cliff was with Arizona, a tight end finished top 5 in targets and yards every single year.
Interesting.
So that's just something like those things matter to me, like looking at those kind of like interesting stats. And yes, like they have Ertz, and he's obviously like familiar with Cliff's offense. However, at this point, it seems as if Ertz is, he's injury prone. He's unable to stay healthy.
Agreed. I'll finish off the sleepers with a tight end here, Isaiah Likely, going at an ADP of tight end 18 and just $1 in auction. In 6 games that Andrews missed, because he's the backup to Mark Andrews, had 21 catches and 322 yards and 5 touchdowns, which was 13.9 fantasy points per game. If Andrews was out, let's say 17 games, that would have put him at tight end 4. I don't think he's just a handcuff anymore, though. They're already talking that they're going to use him all over the field. They're going to line him up as wide receiver. So I think he's a guy that he's still going to be involved and still going to make some noise, I think, even with Mark Andrews out there. So that'll be interesting. We are going to take a quick little break here to talk about Rhythm. And Rhythm is one of our sponsors. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? I didn't. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and a player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Simplify your betting process for college football kickoff this Saturday for week 0. I've been using Rhythm for golf and WNBA all summer and just built my model so I can actually know what to bet on in some of the random games of opening weekend, like that Hawaii game where they're a 40-point favorite. against Delaware State, who missed their plane, by the way. I've never been more excited to watch Delaware State football in my life, thanks to Rhythm, because they're going to get crushed. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer to the first pitch. You guys all know about Game Time. We've been talking about them for a while. They got killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and lowest price guaranteed. And that's one of the things I like. Their lowest price guaranteed. If you find a ticket that is in the same section that you just bought on Game Time for less, they're going to credit you 110% of the difference. They're not doing that because they know they're having to give that money out a lot. And I also like their zone deals. You can save even more if you just choose a section and let them choose your seats. And of course, the panoramic view of your seat to see where you're going to be sitting. Take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest priced, guaranteed. All right.
Do you want to kick us off with busts?
I do in 1 second. I'm making a note here. Let's answer some of these questions. Are you off of the Vikings offense like me, as well as Saints offense? Chris Olave was drafted in 3rd round. I think Sam Darnold could be better than people think, but I don't know if it's going to help Justin Jefferson's value, if that makes sense.
Okay, but we also have to look at the fact that he went through
4 quarterbacks last year, right?
I'm trying to remember if he was on the field with all 4.
Oh, because he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
But it didn't affect him fantasy-wise.
That's true.
He has so much talent. His quarterback didn't matter.
That's true. That's true. I mean, when he had guys like Nick Mullins, I think he played some of the game with Josh Dobbs. It didn't seem to affect him. So, yeah,
No.
Justin Jefferson will probably still be a stud. That offense could be better, though. I mean, Jordan Addison looked all right last year. I know a lot of people are high on him, but he also, out of his 10 touchdowns, 8 of them were from Kirk Cousins in the first 5 games. TJ Hawkinson, when he comes back.
But you got to remember, though, he's not going to come back till potentially almost halfway through the season.
Yeah, potentially. Could be back by week 5, though.
Could be. And if he does, he'll still be a top 12 tight end based on, and he also thrived regardless of quarterback last year.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I do like some of the Vikings players. Now, do I think they're going to win a lot of games? Maybe not. But I do think Sam Darnold, as long as he's not seeing ghosts, there's that familiar clip of him when he's with the Jets.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm seeing ghosts out there. Kingo, who also put Hawkinson on IR, definitely a good tight end to keep because he can come back.
I do think he might not rank top 12, top 10, but when he's playing, when he does come back, he will be
a playoff asset, fantasy football playoff asset,
fantasy football playoffs, or just even any of the weeks, he will be playing like a top 10 tight end. So I definitely think if you can pick him up in a later round, just put him on your IR and reap the benefits when he does come back. Yeah, for sure. And the Citizen checking in, how's it going? Saying RB is so uncertain this year in fantasy football. We did do a top 12 fantasy football running backs episode. If you want to check that out, see what we think the top 12 guys are going to be. And check that out. We would appreciate it. Let's talk about busts. Yeah. You wanted me to kick it off. This is an unpopular opinion, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay being unpopular. It's fine. People need to hear the unpopular opinions. I can take it. Joe Burrow is going as the 7th quarterback off the board. He's going for $13 in a standard league, which is actually pretty high for a quarterback that doesn't run a lot. And the argument I keep hearing about him is, oh, well, he had a bad year, but prior to injury, Chase and Higgins were injured and out, and he didn't have all his weapons and blah, blah, blah. That's what I keep hearing. He's going to be better. I would like to say that I'm not just saying this because of his hairstyle that he came into training camp with, that I did not think was a great look for him. But anyways, in games that Chase and Higgins and Burrow all played and were healthy,
Burrow only averaged 12.13 fantasy points per game. It was 6 games. If he averaged that throughout the season, that would place him 35th overall rather than the 26th that he finished as overall through the games he played. Chase and Higgins not on the field doesn't seem like it was his issue. He's coming off a weird injury that we haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks have with that wrist injury. We don't exactly know how he's going to play or throw. He's had on and off times with it in recovery. I don't think Chase and Higgins are the reason he wasn't the best last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the argument I keep hearing. There's no way I will ever draft him at QB7. I think that is way too high. And I'm not spending $13. If I can get him for $2 or $3
For the stab.
Yeah. But 13 and drafting him as 7th overall, absolutely not.
No. This one might be unpopular too, a little bit. I went back to our running back rankings and I did have him in my top 12, but I don't have him where he's going right now. And I do think his average auction value is a little steep for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Devin Achan. Currently going at an ADP of 10. It's not a knock on him because I do think he's talented. It's just that he has not shown us that he can stay healthy.
Right.
And their RB2 last year, Raheem Mostert, he's still going to get touches. They also drafted Jalen Wright, who looked great in preseason. He will likely get touches. And to me, like Achan seems more like a gadget player rather than an every down back. He's 5'9" and 187 pounds, and that goes against him, especially when he can't stay healthy.
He's a little guy.
He's a little guy, and being like that, it adds to that injury risk, and he already can't stay healthy.
Right.
So I do think injuries are kind of a concern for me with him. And again, I do think he's a great player, just with the volume because of the other options they have, and
yeah,
Mostert and Wright, they're gonna get those touches. I don't think he's gonna have the level of volume we need to see to have him be top 10.
Yeah, that backfield is gonna be shaky, I feel like, because there's a lot of talent.
There's a lot. Like there's just a lot of talent and weapons on this offense in general.
Yep, agreed. Let me just go back to more unpopular opinions and people not being happy that I'm sorry if you're a Bengals fan and listening to this. I'm not trying to shit on your team.
But you're going to shit on your
but I'm going to shit on your
for
team
a little bit.
And I'm trying to give you stats that I feel back at though. Jamar Chase he's fallen a little bit to number 5 now. He's ADP of 5, going for $41 in auction leagues. And he just wasn't that explosive last year aside from 2 weeks. He had 2 weeks where he had 28.7 and 29 points. If you take those two out, he averaged a little over 12 points per game, which have been 14th. Let me speak again, which would have been 14th best overall. 14th is still good. I get that. But if you're drafting a guy as the 5th wide receiver, only to have him finish as the wide receiver 14, that's a bust.
That is.
And now,
you're paying that dollar amount for a top 5 for that 5th, and he's, I don't know.
And if he finishes outside a wide receiver 1, which 14th would be, then you've overspent and he busted for you. And also, he's looking for that contract. Sources close to the subject. I know everybody saw Ocho Cinco say it, and they think, well, that guy's not right in the head after all the hits he's taken. That may be, but it has been backed up by some credible sources. If he does not get a new contract, there are thoughts that he will not step foot on the field. I don't know if any of you took that risk with Le'Veon Bell, thinking he's going to play. There's no way he's holding out. Yeah. I did in a league, and he did hold out, and he didn't play for a year, and it bit you in the ass because you used a top pick.
Yeah, and not only that, like in auction leagues, you spent a huge chunk of your budget,
$53.
$53.
I will never forget that year
on a player who didn't even play.
Yes,
that's over a fourth of your budget on one player, and he didn't play. You can't afford that.
No. Absolutely not. And that's why maybe a deal will get done before the season starts, maybe. But or I guess before your draft. That's when it needs to get done for you to feel confident. But just because of what we saw last year from this Bengals offense and some of the struggles and that contract dispute, I'm staying away. I'm not doing it.
You've been burned. So I can see your point of view on it.
Right. And if somebody else drafts him and he has a good year, good on them. But I'm not going to be stuck with him if he doesn't.
There are plenty of other players you could look at around that spot.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. I'm going to bring up David Njoku.
Yeah.
Going at an AAV of $12 and currently at that ADP of 10. In weeks with Deshaun Watson throwing to him, Njoku averaged 5.3 fantasy points per game,
which is not much.
It's not. And that's who's going to be throwing to him.
Right.
Now, let me tell you what brought his fantasy ranking up and what gave him fantasy value.
I remember this from an earlier episode where you told me that's what an average is. Anyways, go on.
It's the weeks he played with Joe Flacco, where when he had Joe Flacco throwing to him, he averaged 15.2 fantasy points per game. That's gone.
Yeah.
You take those weeks out with Joe Flacco and you do not have a top 10.
Right. Yeah.
You don't. So I just don't think that you can let last year's good performances like outweigh the fact that he didn't play well with Watson at quarterback. And that's what we're looking at this year.
Yeah. And you're drafting a guy that you're drafting him at your tight end 1 spot. And it's very likely he finishes in the tight end 2 range, not as a tight end 1.
Absolutely. And I did not have him in my top 12. When we did our tight end rankings, he was not in my top 12. He was
I am out
outside
on them,
of it. He just granted what?
I said I'm out on them, on the Browns in general.
Yeah, but I just think he's going way too high. I think it's spending $12 on a tight end that's not going to finish inside the top 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't think he's going to. Prove me wrong, but I just don't think he's going to.
Yeah. We got just a couple stashes to cover, but let's catch up with the chat. King of Wahoo saying Keon Coleman or Curtis Samuel. That is tough. If it's PPR, I almost like Curtis Samuel better because I think Curtis Samuel is going to have a lot of catches out of the slot. But I think Keon Coleman is going to have more touchdowns and more yards. And I also noticed you put, is Curtis injury prone? I mean, he's already injured right now. They don't think he's going to play week 1. So that makes you nervous too. That makes
for me, I would rather go with the fresh blood.
The fresh blood. Fair enough. Fair enough. And plus Keon Coleman will tell you when and where to get your coats. So there is that. And it's Wilson from the league. What's going on, Wilson? Good luck on the rest of your draft. Hope it goes well.
Yes.
I hope it doesn't go better than mine, but that's just my competitive nature.
We can't win.
I know.
We can win, but we've taken ourselves.
That is the thing. Yeah. If we win, the next person, the next, like the second place or whatever, will receive the winnings. So yeah, we got just a couple stashes that we wanted to keep in mind. Both were running backs that we came up with
for $1.
Yeah, both $1. I'll start, and that's Chargers running back Kamani Vidal. Obviously, in a dynasty league, he's probably not there, but in a redraft league, he is going for $1. He's going for an ADP of 53. He had back-to-back seasons at Troy with 1,250 plus yards and 10 touchdowns. I know that's a small school, but he is a force to tackle. This guy is a dog. And the Chargers, their top running backs right now are J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, both who have had issues staying healthy. So, I mean, I could see if both of them get banged up, all of a sudden Kamani Vidal is their top running back, and he is going to fit that Jim Harbaugh offense like a glove as a bruising running back. I mean, look how well Michigan ran the ball. Look how well, when Harbaugh was a coach for the Niners, how well they ran the ball. The Chargers have not had a top 10 rushing attack since 2007. I think they're going to run a lot over with Harbaugh. And yeah, I think Vidal could work himself into some really good games. Even if he just is vulturing touchdown after touchdown in a standard league, I think he's definitely worth stashing and see how it goes. Get him before the Dobbins or Gus Edwards manager gets him, because they're going to want to draft him as a handcuff. So get him before that.
Or just steal the handcuff. Sometimes I like stealing the handcuff.
just to make people angry.
Yes. I've even been, who doesn't have like a tight end yet? Or should I draft my backup tight end who doesn't have one?
Or your third string tight
Or
end.
my third string.
When I was getting one.
I've done that.
I know you have.
When you have tight ends,
Hunter Henry. I remember.
He is my backup. Like in that league, I
was getting him for $1, and you're like, I'm not going to let you have him for $1.
You're talking about that.
Yes. Yeah.
Back in the day when he was,
Yes.
yeah. I couldn't let him go for $1.
You could have.
No.
I think you didn't just because it was me.
I've been known to do that.
I know. This is why we can no longer be in the same room while we draft.
I know. Oh, it doesn't matter. I still see you're bidding on him.
I know. But I feel less angry if I'm not looking at you while it's happening.
All right. I'm going to talk about Khalil Herbert going at an ADP of 55. Again, like we said, we're talking about these guys who both have an AAV of $1. We've got, for the Bears, we've got DeAndre Swift, new guy in town, and some people still believe in Rashawn Johnson.
Not me. I've been out on him since day one.
I know.
Tired of people talking about him. Anyways, go on.
However, Herbert finished as a top 12 running back in the 3 games that he had 20 touches or more. And Swift and Johnson still have, like, they've shown some durability concerns.
Yeah.
And while I'm questioning if our offensive line can have good pass blocking skills, I know they're a good run blocking team.
That's true. That's
so
true.
I don't know. I still think that Herbert has fantasy value.
Yeah. And if you look at preseason, which I know it's just preseason, who knows? And Roshan did not play because he was injured, I think. They said he was dealing kind of with an injury, but they didn't really specify. But Khalil Herbert dominated the touches with the starters over DeAndre Swift. And now DeAndre, go ahead.
I am taking Herbert over Roshan. 100%.
Yeah.
And I don't know that like DeAndre Swift is gonna like Herbert's gonna be relevant.
I saw articles from, I know we're not supposed to put the big names on blast, but on NFL.com listing Khalil Herbert as a cut candidate, and I just don't understand that. Like, what are you guys smoking?
I think the Bears would be crazy to do that.
Yeah, what are you smoking? I mean, he's a valuable, even if he is a backup, he's a valuable backup. And yeah, I don't know. I think Herbert could absolutely be a dog. I know we're going to pass more, but the Bears are still going to run the shit out of the ball too.
We are. We're absolutely going to do that. So for $1, I feel very, very comfortable just getting Khalil at that price. And I think it's the steal.
And you can get him really late. In some of the leagues that we're drafting in right now, I've picked him up in the 15th round because everybody's like, well, it's DeAndre Swift or Roshan. I disagree. So yeah. Let's see. King Oahu stashing Hollywood Brown. No one wanted him since he's injured. I like that too. I believe you just selected him as a keeper in the league, didn't you? We had to get, this is the week where we have to get all our keepers in
had him
contract
for like
leagues.
$3 though, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was, I couldn't
Low
not.
dollar. Right.
I got him at such a low dollar amount that, yeah, I wanted to keep him. I think he is a stash.
And Wilson, welcome aboard. Thank you for everybody for listening. Don't forget to give us a little thumbs
Welcome
up.
aboard.
Welcome aboard. He said he's on process, so he's on board. Welcome aboard. Which is also funny because of the Pirate League. He's in the Pirate League. He or she, sorry.
Pirate.
But
last year was the first year I did a Pirate League, and people get mad.
Yeah, you lose
so
3
mad.
or 4 games in a row.
We had somebody quit.
Yeah.
Somebody
by
quit.
week 5.
Yes. And I'm just like, wow.
Boone.
Okay.
I will call him out for being a bitch. That was Boone Bowton, who's in one of my other leagues. And yeah.
He quit. And it's just, okay, you knew that you were joining a Pirate League, and sorry if your draft strategy didn't pan out for you.
Right.
And you've lost, and your
your
starters are getting taken.
I will say, a strategy I'm going to have this year that I did not have last year. If I'm projected to lose by a lot and I think I'm going to lose the match, you can only steal starters. That's how we set the rules up. So I'm going to bench my good players. And
I did not. I didn't do that last year. So I just was put on. I didn't want to lose, so I just put all my players out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta have
there's a
a
lot
little-
of strategy to a pirate league because, like you said, if you are up against, let's say, we're 4 weeks in and you're up against the undefeated team, or maybe we're
Right.
7 weeks in and there's an undefeated team. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they've stolen every single week.
Well, I was gonna say after 5 or 6 weeks of winning, you have a
And
strong team.
yes, they've taken the best player. Hopefully, I mean, maybe they didn't, but they've stolen the best player that was started on every team that they've won against. You're going to go against a team that is pretty almost unbeatable,
Yeah.
depending on if you've had players stolen from
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And then the waivers are really important as well.
Waivers are important, yeah. And stealing is a strategy
Mhm.
too, because it's like, oh, their best player is, say, a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a lot of quarterback depth and I really need another wide receiver, even though they may not.
Do
be
you
valued
steal
as
their
much.
best player just to hurt them,
Or
or
you
do
help
you
your
help
team?
yourself?
Yeah.
It is. There's so much to it.
I'm going into it different this year. It's going to be, I'm going to play a lot of Live to Fight Another Day. So that would involve
Mhm.
stealing the player that I need, not their best player. And that would also involve that if I just know I'm going to get crushed, that person's
But
going to
you've got to be
facing-
careful because you want to have a winning record.
Yeah.
You want to
True.
make it to the
You wanna
playoffs.
make the
You
playoffs,
can't
that's
just
true.
put your bench on as your starter every week.
Watch me.
Yeah, and we'll watch you not get to the playoffs.
Right.
There's got to
Fair
be a
enough.
healthy balance.
Yeah.
Justin.
Agreed.
You only get a
Agreed.
couple freebies
A couple freebies.
or a freebie losses, whatever, that
Couple
don't hurt you.
freebies, losses. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I do know
anymore.
what I'm saying. It's just not coming out how I'm thinking it.
Yeah. Anyways, like, subscribe, all
Mhm.
that helps us. Leave us 5-star reviews, which even Miranda's saying a 5-star now. You have anything else you want to add?
No,
If you're in our listener auction league, make sure you go and vote.
I
on
was gonna
Sleeper.
just talk about that because we need to find a date, guys, because
and gals.
and gals,
Yeah.
guys and gals. Guys is like general, like guys.
It's also what the guy from Goonies says.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys. So, guys and gals.
Okay. Everybody in our auction listener league, we really got to narrow down a date. We got to get it
Yes.
picked. We've got to get it set. We are running out of time. So if anyone or everyone can vote and we can come together on a date, it's very hard, like you said earlier, to schedule with 12 adults
Yeah.
with busy lives
And-
and a holiday weekend coming up.
Yeah. And auctions take a while. That's the hardest
Plan
part.
on 3 hours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you spend all your money at once. There is that.
Yeah, but usually a brand new auction draft takes 3 hours to get through.
Yeah. Accurate.
Accurate.
It's a lot of fun. We will be live streaming that.
3 hours.
That'll be our Keeper's Heart Bowl. We did it last year. It was a lot of
Mhm.
fun. So we'll be doing that again next week. We have a couple things planned or that we're kicking around ideas on. Not exactly sure what we're going to do fully yet, but I think it's going to be kind of like last minute auction draft prep because I know it's draft season. It's hard to get everything in with draft season. Go Hawkeyes. Absolutely agree. And I have drafts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, I believe. Yeah. So it's draft season.
It is.
That's not our slow drafts. Those are the ones to go. I noticed you're nursing your old fashioned over there.
It's because it's farther away from me.
But mine is gone. Going once, going twice.
Sold.